all around, all around. Everywhere I look, your love is all around.
I just wanted a journey through God to see what the world had in store.
I guess what made me decide to come on this trip was, I'd probably just say, definitely for the experience.
They didn't need, but they wanted more people who were just college age, and I was like, okay, like Chandler and I can do that.
I just heard about it. Becca emailed a bunch of college age students at Bridgeway and asked them, hey, would you be interested in going on a missions trip to Africa? And I thought about it, not for very long. I thought about it for maybe a day, and I was like, yes, definitely.
Bridgeway Community Church means to me multiplication, church planting, and a desire to see the kingdom expand amongst those who are disconnected from Jesus Christ. Over the last 3 years, we've been very purposeful and intentional of creating avenues and partnerships with those who have made the commitment to church plant and to reach those who have been yet reached by the gospel of Jesus Christ. About a year and a half ago, I had the privilege of meeting Pastor Maruthi and Kevin as they were in Chicago for a gathering that I was a part of. And I was inspired by their vision, the vision of planting a Mavuno church in every capital city of Africa and every gateway city across the globe. And I said, I've got to get close to these guys. I want to hear their passion. I need to understand what they're doing. I need to learn from them. Pastor Maruthi then extended an invitation for us to come and just share in some time here in Kenya. And so we were able to pull together a team of college-age adults and just be here and build relationships and witness all of the great things that have been happening here in Kenya through Mavuno Church.
Her name is Penny. No, her name is
Okay, you're dying, yeah.
I thought it was about the first round. So
Wait, rock, paper, scissors. It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
No.
Yeah, shoot.
Yes, shoot.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
But I decided to go on the trip to Kenya with the rest of the group because I just felt like God has always called me into some sort of mission work, and I've never been out of the country, and so I was thinking, let's pray about this. So I did, and God gave me no reason why I shouldn't come, and I think that this gave me a really good gateway into missions, and it made me just to understand that America is not the only thing out there, So, it's really cool, and I've loved the experience so far. It's been great. I'm calling that one. I'm calling it.
Taking a picture?
So basically today we're going to be visiting Compassionate Hands for the Less Fortunate, which is in Roi, and the home is mostly comprised of children dealing with autism and the less disabled in the society. So today we're just going to help them out, cook for them, wash their clothes, just do a bit of community service, and also help out with donations so that we just get them a few things that can keep them going for let's say the next 2 weeks or something.
I've never been to a children's home before. I have 2 cousins that were adopted from Guatemala,
but other than that, nothing like this. I'm expecting to be really humbled and to probably want to adopt one.
Actually, I went on a mission trip to Mexico about 5 years ago, and we were at an orphanage, and they had I've experienced that, and they had like they had a school and everything. So yeah, I've been to something similar to this before. It was a little bit heartbreaking, but at the same time it was really beautiful, because you just want to kind of scoop up all the kids and just you want to take them home with you, and you want to give them as much love as you can while you're there, just because in the United States you just get very used to the way your life is, and so going here and seeing these kids and seeing how they live and everything, it kind of breaks your heart, but it really makes you more compassionate. I think it makes you a better Christian because you want to give more and you want to help. So I'm very excited to go. Like I said, I expect a little bit of heartbreak just because I want to take them home with me, but I also expect to feel a lot of love toward these children and to have an experience that I'll carry with me probably for the rest of my life.
I guess the most eye-opening thing for me is just being from the United States, where you don't see this on a daily basis. It's just been, I guess, very eye-opening to me. Just I don't know, just seeing how this is a norm around here, and I guess it really, I don't know, I guess I take granted for it's a lot of stuff I have back in the United States. Where I come from, we can just drink water out of the tap and not be worried about getting sick or just getting some type of illness. Like here, we just have to drink bottled water, and which is kind of eye-opening. I guess just you think that a lot of places just have clean water. I mean, I guess being from a culture like that, you become very, just single-minded, very narrow-minded. But just seeing this culture and just expanding my mind and seeing that there is still a lot of need out in the world, just out in the world. So yeah. What do I expect? Honestly, I don't know what to expect. I mean, I've heard stories of people who've gone to orphanages before, and they told me stories. I don't know. I'm just excited to see what happens. So.
Everywhere I look, your love is all around. Let's say it one more time. Could you possibly rewind and come again? All around. Everywhere I look, your love is all around. Now say it with an African accent. All around. But the round is a round. Everywhere I look, your love is all around. So the song goes like this. All around. Everywhere I look, your love is all around. Everywhere I look, your love is all around. Sing it together.
There was a big pile of gravel, and we spread it out over bigger rocks that weren't broken up. And once we finished that, I felt like I had made a difference, because for those kids, those bigger rocks could have been a broken ankle or a broken leg, something like that, because of the instability that those rocks were giving off. And so to spread that pile of gravel, it felt like we made a difference there, in which that just felt amazing in itself. And my favorite part was getting to walk one of the kids in his wheelchair. And I don't know how often that happens, and so just to make his day or week felt amazing, and just to see the smile that glowed on his face was incredible.
it was just a very heartwarming experience. Like, I have so much at home that like, I complain that, like, oh, I can't find my phone charger when they don't have the ability to walk. Well, some of them don't have the ability to walk, so we got to take them around the block, which was just the highlight of their day, and that kills me to think that, like, only one part of their day is exciting and the rest is sitting in a tiny room with 20 other children. And I mean, I can't even imagine. So that I thank God to have that experience and to not stay inside my own little world where I get caught up in stupid little things, to expand my understanding of the rest of the world and not just everything around me.
Compassionate Hands was very moving because I saw how little the kids had, but yet they still found joy and were able to have a good time. And it was nice to see the volunteers there be so happy as well. And the people that we went with, Radiators, they were super nice as well, and they helped us out, and any questions we had, they were willing to answer, so that was nice.
Playing with the kids, washing them, smiling at them, keeping the rules, maintaining the smile.
I think the thing that hit me the most though there was just, I guess, the conditions they were kind of living in. And after Edu, he told me that they were taking it day by day. They didn't even know if they were gonna have food for the next day or a couple days. And just thinking just of the emotions the people there had to be feeling, not knowing that they were gonna maybe survive the next day, or these kids are gonna get fed the next day.
Of the 3 different jobs that we had, the doing the kind of yard work, cooking or washing, I wanted to cook. I had decided, like, I was gonna cook, that's what I wanted to do. And then the first person they came out to ask if they wanted to wash the kids was me. And of course I said yes. So what my expectation was versus the reality of it was very different. I had expected to kind of find like a little washroom and maybe give the kids like a bath, but not necessarily like what we had, where we were just kind of in an open yard area and we had buckets of water and we had torn up pieces of tarp. So it was very different than what I had originally imagined, and it kind of set the tone for the whole trip. Like it was whatever you expected should just be thrown out the window, because it's going to be much different than what you actually think it is. It kind of broke my heart, just the conditions that these beautiful children are in, and it made me want to help. It made me want to come back, bring as many people as I can, and come back. And I think actually there's a few of us that have decided whatever shillings we don't use, we want to donate that to Compassionate Hands. And my sister and I, our grandma gave us a bunch of like washcloths, just because she was like, oh, I don't know if you'll have them. So we have I think like 6 or 7 washcloths, and we just want to give those to Compassionate Hands as well. So it was really an impactful day.
My experience at Compassionate Hands was a good experience, especially getting to serve the children with autism. I think it brought me to a point of appreciating every single thing you have, especially the things that you'll rather not thank God for, like the ability just to even see, the ability to just even be able to coordinate your hands well, the ability to be able to walk. And it was just an experience where I got to help others and got to thank God for what I have, and also be able to assist others.
Compassionate Hands was like nothing I've ever experienced before. It's nothing I've ever seen before. I've never seen so much poverty and sadness, but yet hope in the same place. Because I knowing like the childhood I've had, if I had to go through that, I wouldn't be a happy person. But those kids are so happy, and they know that they're loved, and it's just beautiful to see that.
My heart broke from the moment we drove in, and I don't know why. I guess what really broke my heart was before everyone started working, I walked into, I don't know if it's a classroom where the kids were, and I walked in and I ran out. I thought I would cry. The way the kids were, it broke my heart. And I felt like I've been taking so many things for granted in my life. The way I can talk to people, the way I treat people, the way I interact with other people. I felt like I was in their shoes and they were in mine.
Seeing how they live there was just so sad to me, and I just want to help them in any way possible now. And just seeing how happy they are with how little they have is just amazing to me, and it makes me want to be less of a complainer and just appreciate what I have.
So basically, it was a really humbling experience. It allowed me to really see what they have to do to allow them just to have a place to play. Even though there was still rocks on the ground and everything, like we still made like the place look really nice and allowed us to just really help out the kids and make a difference for them so they have more place to play and everything along those lines.
Compassionate Hands, when we got there, my heart fell. It was really hard for me because I love kids a lot. I used to be a nanny. I used to work in daycare also. But it just hurt me to see the kids running around and they didn't have a home. I mean, that was their home to them and they loved it. The thing is, they were smiling. But I think it broke my heart more than it would have broken their heart. But us just coming and playing with them and making them dinner was probably meant the world to them. And then giving walks to those in the wheelchairs, you know, it just made me think about the things that I have and the people in my life. Do I take them for granted, and do I have a bunch of things that I really don't need?
It was, you know, not sanitary. It was sad, but I remember the rules was to smile and to maintain the smile. And had she not given us those rules, it would have been hard not to. But on later reflection, washing these young boys as they came into our chairs and we would wash them, just taking their vulnerability physically into our hands. And in that moment, I'm just as vulnerable as they are. I think they knew I wasn't comfortable, or, you know, it was new for me, and they felt that. So it actually, each child was a really beautiful moment. And they love the water too. They really laugh and smile when the warm water hits their body. And later in the day, I helped with the gravel. I got a blister, but that was fun too. And it was nice to see the starting point and then the ending point and see the change that we did there.
It was definitely very heartbreaking. I was the team who was washing the children, and it was just very raw to be able to serve in that way of literal vulnerability and nakedness. And it was just very rough because it's like, oh, like they are just so happy to be clean, and their expectations versus my expectations back in the US, like I expect like clean shower water and like to take a shower by myself, and they're all just like in the middle of the yard and they're all just ready and they're excited just to have water. And so it definitely really opened my eyes for that. There was one boy who ended up having a seizure, and that was just hard because I had to hold him. And the way I was just taught at my work, you just like wait for the seizure to end, and it's just really hard because then we had to just lay him down, and it was very rough. But it definitely taught me just like, why are my expectations so high when I could be just happy with something else. And I think it's definitely ignorance is bliss, but at the same time you don't want to be a fool to things and just shut your eyes out to things, but just realizing what the world does or does not have and what they do, and just going about and just being happy with what you do have and even giving to others.
Unsettling and beautiful at the same time. It was unsettling in that we'd only been in country about 24 hours. We were taken outside the city into a place where it's obviously a lack of resources. That was the unsettling part. But where there was a lack of resources, there was an abundance of love. And in that place, I witnessed the beauty of someone who had a vision like Anne, who was able to rescue those who had been tossed away or forgotten by society. I watched the beauty of men and women who had made a commitment to care for those who live on the margins of our world, and to see the healing that takes place in the beauty of community and care and compassion. And I walked away inspired and prayed that my college-age adults would experiencing something so deep, something so unsettling to them, that it would inspire them or serve as a catalyst for imagining how maybe God could use them in the future to reach those who are unreached, to remember those who are forgotten, and to befriend the friendless.
And I'm calling us as a church to a place where we can elevate and lift God so high in our lives. So high in our lives that everything else becomes a dwarf from that view.
I went to the bigger campus. I don't remember which one it was called. What one? Hill City. It was a really good service. I enjoyed it a lot. I liked the big open spaces, and the pastor was really nice and really funny. It was really a great experience.
Look, your love is all around. Do it again. All around. Oh. Everywhere I look, your love is all around. Just around. Yeah, just around. Around. If we ever get the chance. That was pretty good, guys. And it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. This feeling's running high. Life is calling and the world is beautiful. From Bridgeway Community Church, with all those winners in the back.
I love you, Kevin.
Oh, I love you too.
And you'll always feel the love, and it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. This feeling's running high. It's named after one of our freedom fighters. Life is calling. Beautiful.
It had a high number of criminal activities and criminals. So this home acts as a rehabilitation center for them, for the youth, so they come here and keep themselves busy. You didn't know my nickname was Glory, that's what they named it.
It's awesome. I love it. I love it. I think it's awesome.
To be alive, so good to be alive. This feeling's running high. Oh, life is calling and the world is beautiful. So beautiful. Life is calling, yeah, life is calling. Life is calling, the world is beautiful. 'Cause life is calling and the world is beautiful.
It would probably have been when we were going from the slums to the richer side of Nairobi, and we saw, as we were going through the slums, I just looked out my window and I saw a guy sitting on about, gosh, I don't know, probably a 5-foot tall garbage mound, and he was eating banana peels. To me, it just broke my heart because I've never been in a situation like that. I've always considered myself lower class from where we are at in America, and it just makes me think, am I really poor? Do I've always had something to eat. My mother and father have always done their best to take care of us, and it just kind of reminds me and makes me think a little bit more that, hey, you know what, I have what I need, and the people in these slums don't have what they need. And it made me a little, emotional to see that they're picking through the garbage, and then not more than 20 minutes away we see giant mansions of people who barely live in their houses, and sometimes those are just, extra houses, so it broke my heart. It did.
You're gonna think this is funny. I bought the Kenyan beer shirt on accident. Yes, it says, so this is beer after work.
I would say what gave me hope about the city would be its people, for sure. Meeting everyone that we've met, everyone, you all see opportunities in everything, no matter whether you're in the Eastlands where it's, a lot of you, like Manu and Edu, they came from that general area. And to see where they've come and where they're going to go is really amazing. So you see hope in the people, that they're not easily discouraged, and they're going to find opportunities in any way they can.
One of the things was I saw a man open up a trash bag and started eating from it, and that broke my heart just to see that happen and go down.
The way the people are, they are so graceful and friendly and just open to talking to anybody and helping anybody. What broke my heart is seeing the east side and seeing how they live and all the little kids, and just imagining how they're going to be growing up and just hoping the best for them.
There would be a roundabout, and it was just a small patch of grass, and there would be people sleeping there, and there was trash all over the streets, so it was kind of hard to see that, and people were walking and even searching for food, and the animals were eating some of the trash, so that was really hard because you don't really see that in the States.
In the poorer areas of Nairobi, seeing that, and they had so much hope, even though they had so little, it just gave me more hope. It's why am I living with all that I have? Why am I not giving up more? And so that definitely hit me.
So the community area really had hope for me, because gave hope, out flourished, I guess, to the people, because it showed that they're not giving up. They're always trying to strive and make things better, and actually give something to do, and allow the kids just to really do something in this world instead of just being in a poverty level. And it makes a big difference.
Socrates, when he took us through the dance studio room, the boxing room, they do acrobatics in there too. That was really cool. And the soccer field too, and we got to stop by the soccer field in this neighborhood and play with the kids. And I think I saw hope there because hope was just pouring out of these places. These are where, you know, the children were able to come and get hope. You know, it doesn't matter where you come from, no one cares what your name is, just come and play, or come and dance and come and box.
I guess it's just, I don't know, like the poorest area we went to was just really, really bad. I wasn't expecting it to be that bad. But really, I guess almost what angered me was that not even like 5-10 minutes away from one of the most poorest parts of the city was one of the wealthiest. And I don't know how someone can live in luxury knowing that that's happening not even 5 minutes away from your home. So yeah, after that whole tour, I almost felt angry, which I didn't know what to do with, but it was funny actually when we talked to the college group there at the downtown campus. It was it's funny how like God gave me those emotions of anger, but then He really showed me that the youth in Africa or Kenya are actually doing things to help these communities and help these parts of the city that are very poor and in need of certain things. And it just, again, I just left with very encouraged and very hopeful that just, I guess, fellow Africans are doing something to help the others. So
when we went to the KICC building and went to the top of that, and it showed us how big the city was in general, and it showed us that it wasn't all, like there weren't a lot of negatives. Like you saw the beauty of the city in its entirety, and it was that was just amazing to me how much you could see from the top of that building and how beautiful it was.
Really enjoyed pushing my friend Odessa in the wheelchair because she couldn't talk. She couldn't like really move much. She just moved her arms. Her legs didn't move. She was paralyzed. But when I, walked her around the compound and we came back, she was pointing at all the flowers and the trees, and I could tell that she really loved the experience, and that meant the world to her. So that probably was the best experience I had overall, and it just makes me really thankful for the things that I have, thankful for my legs, that I can take a walk. So it definitely, I have a different outlook on life because I met Odessa and the people from Compassionate Hands.
So this is my first time in Kenya, and I don't know what I was expecting. I just thought I'll come and see what there is and what kind of culture is here, and I was really surprised because I didn't notice kind of how similar it was, but it's also so different in a lot of ways.
I feel like here families are very close-knit, and I really appreciated that, and that's something I don't see all the time.
The city is beautiful. The city is beautiful, and it is completely diverse.
And I think my main takeout was that they came here with the heart of service, and that's what they were able to give the people of Kenya and people of Nairobi and people of Mavuno Church specifically.
I will always cherish the relationships that were built here during this time.
Everybody's so friendly, and I think that the city has a lot of hope, and the people work together.
Just seeing how happy everybody is with how little they have and making me not want to complain anymore. The things I complain about are just so minuscule and ridiculous compared to the big problems here.
It's just a really good experience to see how no matter what, you can still be happy, and as long as there's somebody supporting you and loving you, you live a good life.
To be less complacent and to know that there are people out there that have so much less than I do, it made me feel as if I need to stop complaining for things that are just the little things, and to let not one bad experience ruin my day. Just to keep moving on, because some of these people have very bad experiences all the time, but they're still moving forward and somewhat happy-go-lucky and feel like they've been pushing through. And that's one of the things that's really been life-changing to me.
Just the vastness and how large the city was, and the fact that, you know, you look out and you see the city and you see its beauty, but then I'm reminded that like all the things we had seen, like if you were just looking at the city, you'd be like, it's a great city, but there's broken parts within the city that need to be mended and fixed. And so in a way it was heartbreaking, but also like beautiful to see the whole city from that view.
So taking away more of just like, no matter how much I feel like I had to meet ends meet, God always does provide, whether it's like food for the next day or like paying a bill.
At least I've learned a bunch from you guys, and I can't thank you guys enough. Really, it's been awesome.
If we gave up a few things of our day to help people, like the different ministries like Compassionate Hands and other ministries in need, and so it really made me want to be a person that leads people to those ministries, that leads people to places like Compassionate Hands, so that way they can help, they can build buildings and washrooms and have cloths for those kids. So it made me want to be more than what I am now. This whole trip has.
My biggest takeout of this whole thing was the relationships I gained, especially the people I've met through this whole trip, all the people that have allowed us to be able to do this and make a change basically, and allowed us to really see like what's going on through God's eyes and our eyes. So yeah, I'm really generous to the people that helped us along the way, so yeah.
Looking out the window of the bus, just seeing this city, seeing, you know, I've seen some things that, you know, just on the side of the road, you know, some of them are hard to share, but, you know, and the garbage, our group has talked about that, but the song that Winston taught us, I really, that helped me. It was about halfway through the week, early in the week, we learned that song, all around, everywhere you look, your love is all around. And hearing that song on the bus, looking out the window, I think there was a change in what I saw. And then I would be able to look up and see, wow, this country is beautiful. Or, you know, wow, look at that, you know, little transaction going on in that market, like that's beautiful. Like these people making a living with their crafts, that's beautiful. The plants on the side of the road that people grow and sell. So I think Jesus' love is all around this city. You just have to look.
Pretty big on hope, so I tend to land on hope a lot more than I do despair. So my eye is always open to those places of hope. Driving through the city, I see hope all over the place. I see hope in the industriousness of the Kenyan people. I watch as they put these handcrafted items together, selling them along the streets. I see their willingness to work really, really hard to make it through life. I see hope through the kinds of ministries that we got a chance to experience down in Jerusalem. Men and women who are saying, you know what, our circumstances don't define us. God has crafted and shaped us for a purpose, and we can stand up, rise up, and encourage others to do so. I found hope in an economy that seems to be making way, construction and business opportunities, education. I was amazed at all the educational institutions all throughout Nairobi. I mean, every time I turned around, there was a college or a secondary school or some form of extended education. I found hope. Things that break my heart are those problems that we tend to believe are too big for us. So yes, driving through the city, it's easy to look at the slums and go, there's nothing we can do there. And then we meet Ken. And Ken at Falamu Jwani is investing himself in young people from that community and watching them excel. And so even in those moments when I wanted to despair, we were met by hopefulness, and I'm thankful for that. What came to mind and what always comes to mind was the millions of people that were within eyesight. knowing that every single one of them has a story. Every single one of them was formed and fashioned in their mother's womb with a purpose. Every one of them is fearfully and wonderfully made, the scripture says. To look out over 4.5 million people and to think about, God, what would this city look like if a tipping point happened? If a moment in which your Spirit was poured out so faithfully that men and women rose up and stepped into the fullness of their redemptive potential. How might not this city change, but this country and the countries surrounding it? So God, pour out your Spirit upon these people, that they might experience the goodness, the grace, and the power of your Holy Spirit in their lives, so that they can be who you've created them to be.